welcome to the Aidoo show. It's always a pleasure to come in, sit down and bring you positive stories, speak to you from the bottom of my heart, join you on this journey of inspiration, because that's all we're about at the Aidoo show. That's all I'm about. And we hope that we bring light into your world. Today I'm here speaking with Miss Joan. Her organization, The Sky is My Limit. I just love that name. The sky is my limit. But I don't think so. I think Miss Joan can go beyond the sky because she's making magic with the work that she does. I love it when people work from their spirits, when people touch lives without asking for anything back. Because some of us know that God Himself is our reward for everything that we do. And so today, before we even go further, I want to give a shout out to all those families that have lost women to violence at the hands of other people. Women who have been shot, women who have been raped, women who hanged themselves because they thought they couldn't go on. I especially want to give a shout out to the young girl, 15-year-old girl, who just committed suicide. I can't let it go. I have to say that we each have a role to play in the lives of women, the young men, the old women, the old men, humanity in fact, because we can't just let people suffer in vain. We can't let families suffer in vain. We need to teach our boys to take things seriously. We need to teach our girls to take things seriously. We need to teach them that TV is not all that it's about. There's no need to get wasted and be proud of it. At the same time, life has to go on. And so we're going on today with Miss Joan. The sky is the limit. But like I've said, it's not her limit. I know this woman. If anybody knows her energy, even she knows the sky is not her limit. So let's welcome Joan. See that smile? Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'm proud and happy to have you on this show. She's one of our recipients from last year, the Women's Courage Awards. And I'll just give her a chance to introduce herself so I don't mess it up, because this is too beautiful. You go. The ball is in your court.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me here.
You're
I am
welcome.
so excited to be a part of this and, you know, to have been honored by your Women's Courage Award was just, it was such an uplifting and amazing thing for you to do to me, and for the 18 students from Ryerson that I took with me to Ghana last year. It was an incredible thing.
That was amazing.
So I will start by telling you that in 2010, I went to Ghana on my own. I decided it was time to find Joan a little bit and to be somewhere that I've never been before.
Okay.
So I went, and I had a lot of support from my family, whom I adore.
Right.
And so I went, and I was there for 2 months. And I went as a special educator, which is one of the roles that I play in my life. And I taught at a school in a little town outside of Hohwe in the Volta region in Ghana.
So before you go any further, let me explain something. I love it when people say, I decided to find myself and I'm here in Canada in North York. I'm not going to go to Brampton. I'm not going to go to Scarborough. I'm going to go to Ghana. This is a whole different continent. And then when she got there, I'm from Ghana, she went to a remote village, a place I've never been. Okay? And this is not a place that has all the facilities. I'm just trying to set the stage. Let's go.
So I went to Hohwe, where I stayed with a family there, a family from a Ghanaian family. And I traveled every morning to get to the school at 5 a.m. because even though teachers would never get to the school at 5 a.m., they asked if I would, and so I did, because they have over 100 students and 2 house mothers, one for the boys and one for the girls. And every morning, all of the mattresses had to be pulled out, all of the children needed to be showered, their teeth brushed, and they all had to be dressed. And the 2 house mothers were just not enough.
They were just not enough.
Just not enough. And so even though I came as a teacher, when they asked would I come and help with getting them ready in the morning, of course. And I've got to tell you, Anna, it was the biggest gift I have ever been given in my life was to get there at 5 a.m. It was unbelievable because these children, their ability to be themselves so purely went from 5 until 8 before they went to school.
Before they went to school. And you know, you've been in my mind and you've been in my spirit because, you know, a lot of us walk around, we're okay, God, by the grace of God, we're healthy and everything. We have all our faculties together and all that. So it's easy for us to just get up and go. It's easy for us to take things for granted. It's easy for us to say, just get up, hurry up, go, you know, just hurry, hurry, hurry. But in this case, the reason you're in my spirit and you're in my thoughts all the time is the fact that you know the difficulty of what you do and you brought it in a situation where there are no facilities in place. What do you think kept you going at 5 a.m.? Because I know that's not the end of it.
Oh, you know, children are my life. Children are what light the fire within me. And it is God's gift to me that I have the opportunity to see that in them and to feel their souls and to feel them thrive and be happy. And starting at 5, I could have started at 2. It did not matter. I loved being with them.
And the thing I love about, like I said, I'm from Ghana, and I know how I don't know if it's a cultural thing or if it's a human thing, but we don't really, like when you're disabled or when you're not fully functional, we sort of push you aside, you know. And I think you brought a certain joy, a certain capacity. How did the people react, the locals? How did they react? Because I see genuineness. I see a spirit that really wants to do God's work on earth. How did the locals deal with your energy and the way you took care of these who were so vulnerable?
Well, the people in the town were so welcoming and so warm, which is part of the reason I chose to start my organization and to build in that town, because I know that in Ghana it is not easy to be a person with disabilities.
No.
and that they're not very accepted.
No.
And yet this town, this small town of Clothe, which is it's outside of Hohoi, it's smaller than Hohoi, they were so beautiful about their sort of taking it in stride, that these children were a part of their community. In fact, one of the students who goes to the school, his dad is one of the opinion leaders of Clothe.
Okay.
And to watch him navigate through that village and for people to be, they were just happy that he was there.
Right.
And therefore they were a little shocked by this white face.
Exactly.
But they were so ready to embrace me and embrace what I was there to do.
And I love that. And I love that in the sense that a lot of times when you do this type of work, people would ask, do you make money? And the face with which they'll say it, do you make money? So why do you do it? I get that all the time. And you almost feel like you're wasting your time. So I know the difficulties that come from doing such work. I know you didn't go there. You went there to find you, right? But what did you discover? Because I know so much has happened from there. We need 2 shows because we're not done. So I know your motivation is not money, but at the same time, money is needed to get the job done. Sometimes I want somebody else to explain to people when somebody is working from the spirit that it's okay sometimes to work from the spirit, and that the God who sent you to do this work will send you the resources that you need. Throw a little light on that for me.
Oh, it is extraordinary how strong a hand God has had in this journey. And as I said, I went there to find me. I've never, me has not been a big piece of my puzzle. It's always been, what can I do? Where can I go? And this was destined. I went through an organization that went to Hohoi, and they were going to send me instead to the other side of Ghana. And I called them just before I left, and I said, I thought I was going to Hohoi. They said, oh, well, if that's what you want, that's fine. So they almost sent me away, and yet I stayed in the Hohoi area. Right after I left, and I was the only special educator from this organization to come and work at this school. And after I left, that organization pulled out of the Volta region. So it was though God was waiting for me.
Or God knew who was the right person to take over. You see, I'm such a strong believer in God working on our behalf, even before we make any moves. So one thing I want to assure you with is that if you have a dream, if you have a goal, if you're passionate about something, don't think about the money first. Step out in faith. Ask for the help that you need and believe, have faith. You know, I'm not afraid to talk about God. I'm not afraid at all because He has been there, even when the there wasn't there. So we're going to leave you to ponder on that, and we'll be back. Welcome back. You know, I just wish I could hurry everybody that has a dream up to go ahead and follow their dream. Because when we let our light shine in the things that we do for humanity, we give others the courage to shine. We give others the strength to say that I can also make a difference. And don't even get it wrong. There are people out there who need help. Sometimes it's just somebody to talk to. Sometimes it's just somebody to say, you're going to be all right. I watched this week in horror as we were told about this young girl that committed suicide because she was raped and friends, just tormented her. I wonder maybe if somebody had whispered in her ear that this here could be a gift that she could learn from and become a better person for it. But alas, she's gone. But the rest of us have work to do, to bring hope, to bring inspiration, to bring courage to those who don't have courage. And therefore, we're back to Joan, who is going to talk about her work right there in Klejo. Take it away.
So after I was there in 2010, we formed the organization The Sky Is My Limit. And you're right. There is no limit.
There is no limit.
There is no limit. Everybody, everywhere can do anything they put their minds to. So we started this organization, and we thought maybe in a year, maybe two, we would start to build.
And everything will be fine.
Yeah, we would go slowly. We would become an organization. We would figure out how to fundraise and how to do the things we needed to do in order to build a house for the older students that I worked with in Klejo. And then I got connected to Ryerson University. A good friend of mine whose daughter I helped have a bat mitzvah in the congregation where I belong. She is connected at Ryerson, and she said, you know, I need to introduce you to the advisor for the ASB. I did not know what ASB was. Turns out it's the Alternative Spring Break.
Okay.
And it's mostly student run. And every spring, right after classes, they go for a month somewhere and they do something. So a year ago, October, I went to have a cup of coffee with their advisor. That very same day, the trip that they had started to plan fell through. They were originally going to go to Kenya, and it fell through.
God's intervention again.
Oh!
Yeah.
So I got there, and they had me come in to where the students were sitting to tell them a little bit about what we were hoping to do. And after a few minutes, they said, well, can you put a quote together? Oh, Anna.
Like, okay.
Sure.
Cool. Aren't you going a little faster for me?
Yeah, a little fast. So that weekend, I called my Ghanaian partners, and I said, okay, we need a place for them to stay. We need food for them to eat. We need things for them to do. We need to get the building materials. We need to and we need to have an idea how much to charge them for the time that they are going to spend there. Well, we did it in a weekend. And within a week, they had accepted our proposal, and we were on our way.
To Ghana?
To Ghana.
To Klejo.
Yes.
Like I said before, if you have a dream, if you have a goal, don't be afraid. Don't just sit there and stare at the wall and let your heart break because something tells you the dream wouldn't work. If you're listening, if you listen from the beginning, you will find that at every point, somebody came along that gave the next help that was needed. So go on, because I want people to get this full story.
So we made the plans and we went. The 18 Ryerson students, and I went with them. Also, my 15-year-old son accompanied us, which was really very special.
Yeah.
And we moved in with one of the opinion leaders of Klejo, because the place that we had originally thought we were going to stay in true Ghanaian style fell through.
True Ghanaian style.
So we stayed with our friend CK, who was also our medical officer while we were there, because he's a retired nurse.
Okay.
And we started building, thinking, oh, maybe we'll get a couple of walls, maybe we'll get the foundation, because there are 2 blocks of 4 rooms each. We're hoping ultimately to house 16 young adults with disabilities.
Okay.
So we were going to start the first 4 rooms. Anna, in 1 month, we built those 4 rooms. Just after we left, we put the roof on, and we are waiting until our next trip, whenever that will be, hopefully soon, to put doors and windows. But otherwise, it is done. That first block of housing.
It is done. And the thing I like about it, you know, sometimes I think when you know too much, you struggle for too long because you think about the technicalities and the this and the that, and then you have to bring in the architect and which just takes a long time. I like the way this happened because God was ready to take care of his own, and people came from every corner. Fast forward to seeing some of the videos, I was trying to find a way for us to watch the video where the kids were coming from the thing, but that just continues to inspire me. And as we all continue to work in the community to uplift humanity, how do you think your energy affects the people that come to work with you? I don't know if it's your energy, well, it's your energy, but what do you think? I just saw a poster on Facebook that says, I want every little girl that is told is bossy to be told she's a leader. Because I have a feeling you and I have gone through the same thing because we have too much energy. How do we encourage young girls and young boys to have a voice, to believe that their energy has a purpose? Because as we go on and do the work, we have to pass it on. How do you do that so that the work continues?
You know, I often thought that my energy alone would be enough to drive forward and complete everything and everybody.
And save the world.
Absolutely. The children that I taught in school, I knew that if I had enough oomph and enough push, that they would understand and they would get it. And Anna, it's not true. It's not true. But it's important to know that energy is within each of us. And the trick, and it's not such a trick.
It's not such a trick.
Not such a trick, is to give everyone an opportunity to find their own energy. Because when they do, and it doesn't have to be like us, it doesn't have to be out loud, let's go, we can. It can be a quiet,
but moving things.
Absolutely.
The point is to believe. The point is to believe. So what is next for The Sky Is My Limit? I'd like to change the name to something beyond The Sky Is My Limit.
Well, there's a reason it's The Sky Is My Limit.
Yes.
There's a tree that grows very beautifully in Ghana.
Right.
It is called The Sky Is My Limit.
Oh.
And it spoke to me. When I first got there, I wanted to know the name of that tree. And I was told that it's the sky is my limit. And I said, and what is it in Ewe? And they didn't know. Because it's a foreign tree.
It's a foreign tree,
It's a foreign tree, and yet it grows beautifully in Ghana.
Okay.
And that really it meant something to me, because I too am a foreign presence in Ghana.
In Ghana, yes.
And yet here we are growing so beautifully.
Yeah.
And so that is why it's that.
Okay. So the tree there is representative of your presence.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes, and it is a very tall tree, and it does reach way beyond the sky.
Beyond the sky.
Yes.
And what do you think you've gotten from those kids? I know that's what you do. I know you pour your heart out everywhere you go. But for those kids, particularly in those circumstances, definitely school there for disabled is not the same as it is here.
Absolutely.
So what do you think you've gotten from them? Because whenever we do good, we get something from it. I don't want anybody to even misunderstand that when you step out and you do good, you may not get it back in money, but you do get something back. I asked myself the other day, Anna, why do you do the things you do? And then I remembered your smile. I remembered the lives you've touched. I remembered the men who have come to the awards, and sometimes I look at the pictures and I'll just see a man standing there looking at, and that is why I love for everybody to come up sometimes I just look at the moments that have been captured in the pictures, and I know that right there, that smile, that laughter, that dreamy look in that person's face, that's what I'm getting back. And so what do you think you've gotten back from those kids?
Those kids just mean the world to me. Just the world to me. And their light and their purity is what I get from them. It is just extraordinary.
Yeah.
Just extraordinary. I'm going to tell you a story.
Yeah. The story. I love stories. Like
Get
I said,
ready.
Joan and I need about 10 shows to complete the whole thing. And so we know where All Talk TV is. We'll be coming back to bring you the story as things unfold, because they're unfolding. Joan brought a young lady from Ghana who we met, who's so full of life. We all got together. I love the back and forth between humanity. Joan is just a face. Anna is just a face. What we're doing is connecting humanity so that there's a smile where there would have been sorrow. What are you doing? What are you doing to put a smile into humanity? What are you doing in your home? It doesn't have to be out there on the world stage. What are you doing in your home? Are you forgiving? Are you being kind? Are you giving even when you don't feel like doing? It's hard, but it can be done. And as we go on, I want to talk more and more about women that have been. One lady was stabbed in my community about 100 times by her husband, her common law boyfriend. She had 2 children, stabbed and then set her body on fire. While everybody is angry at this gentleman, the question I ask is, what made him think, what pushed him to that level? What in his spirit snapped so hard that he inflicted such pain on a human being? When I wake up in the morning, that is my desire, that we cancel that hurt in people, that we cancel that dignity, that wickedness in people with the work that we do, so that somebody who feels like they've lost it all can have hope and not inflict pain on people. I believe the work that you're doing with The Sky is the Limit will just go so far. I know it will, because you've already taken 18 students from Ryerson who have had a totally different experience. You're touching the lives of the kids there who are now going to have, and they're going to wake up and see you in their face and they will smile. And then the lady you brought here from Ghana, I look at the pictures and I see how she's laughing. And I'm just grateful for these opportunities. So what is the plan? What is next for The Sky is My Limit?
We are going to be taking another group. This is not going to be through a university, I don't think. Ultimately, I think it would be wonderful to have a connection to a number of universities, to have learning opportunities there. But our next one is to build.
To build.
And we will, I'm sort of calling it a friends and family trip.
Okay.
Because it's going to be people who are connected to us and to me, who want to go and have an experience unlike anything they've ever had, which is what they will have. And we'll do our next block.
Yeah, and you were going to tell me a story.
Yes.
We want to leave these people hungry. You know, so the story, let's start with the story.
Okay. So you asked what I get from these children. And I think that it's very simple to look at these children and see very little. There's a child, Augusta. She's not verbal. She's autistic.
Okay.
And she's a very beautiful, beautiful child. But I would think most people look past her because she tends not to command any attention at all.
Yeah.
She tends to pick a blade of grass every morning and she bends it down and just kind of plays with it in her mouth. That's what she does. And as long as you leave her alone, she's fine. And every day when I was there, I would say hello to her and I would sort of sit close. I didn't infringe on what she was doing, but I was there.
She's in her own space.
And I spoke to her, and occasionally she would look at me and then look back at her grass and move on. On my last day, I was very sad. And I was crying. And this child, who is not connected to anybody, she came over to me and she touched my face and she looked deeply into my eyes and in every way started to comfort me.
She spoke.
She spoke. It was very, very profound and very, very beautiful.
And this was a child that did not speak, just kept to herself?
She keeps to herself. She sometimes speaks to herself.
Right.
I mean, we knew that she had a voice, but certainly not for anyone.
This is called spiritual connection.
Anna, she looked so deeply into my soul, not just into my eyes. And it is, so when people say, why do you do what you do? What does it matter? What do what can you possibly get from that?
Well, you can't describe and then one thing I've also come to understand is that not many people will understand the work that you do. Sometimes I don't understand the work I do, but I know that deep in my spirit, I touch somebody. And so soak that in. As she said, she came and she touched her cheek and she looked deep in her eye. Could it be that she had connected spiritually? Let's think about that. right. So, it's too bad we don't have a box of tissue here, because Joan and I could have spent a little bit of time just crying. Crying not because we're sad or anything. Crying because we've been given the opportunity to touch souls. She left us with this young girl who just sits by herself quietly, but somehow felt the sorrow in Joan's soul when she had to leave. Do you feel another person's pain? Do you feel another person's hurt? Are you able to look into somebody's eyes and say, come, I can help you? Because people need help. It's not always about money. I always use Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson as examples of people who would have lived forever if life was all about money. But it wasn't. Alas, they died young. They died lonely. They died even though they were surrounded by all the material things. So what I want to ask you is, are you being kind to somebody? Are you feeding your soul as well as the soul of another so that they can go on and touch another soul? I'm just going to take this ball back to Joan so that she can give us this full story and what she sees coming ahead. It's exciting. I think I'm going to get on this train with this lady the next time we're going to Clothe, because I've never been there.
You should come.
I will go.
It is quite a place. So, back to my friend Augusta. So this child she's in a classroom even in the school where they have very few expectations of her. And in fact, the students at that school stay there until they are not alive anymore, because there is no place for them to go.
Place to go.
They can certainly go back to their families, but no one will employ them, no one will feed them, no one will clothe them.
And the families can't support them, and it's too much.
Yes.
Because we're in a system where even those who have the ability don't have the resources they need.
That's right. And these kids are being taught enough at the school that there are things they can do. The shirt I'm wearing, these students made the material. It's got my name in the middle.
Okay.
They call me Joan, not Joan.
Right, yeah, that's what we say.
Yes.
We like to say all the letters.
So they're far more capable than anybody gives them credit for. So it is a student like Augusta. I have every hope and every excitement that once we have our facility built, that she will be one of the residents. Because even if she's not able to do batik, even if she's not able to weave kente, she can certainly do something cooking or cleaning around the house.
Right.
Or going into the village to buy groceries.
Right.
There are things that she can do.
There are things that she can do.
And that is what our organization is about.
Believing in the human spirit.
Absolutely.
That we each have something to contribute to humanity. And this is why it is so hard for me when I sit here in North America and young people just are depressed and young people don't know their left from their right. Sometimes it breaks my heart when I see young kids here who just can't see their way forward. But could it be that we're so caught up in material things that we're not touching the kids' spirits so that they're so discouraged? Why? I don't understand. I don't understand. So I ask everybody out there, instead of buying that kid an expensive toy, can you sit down for a moment and talk to that kid? Instead of getting them all the name brand items that they need in this one, can you take them out to McDonald's and just sit there and just actually talk to the kid? Because sometimes I think we don't need too much medication. All we need is the human touch. And so as you build and as you're empowering these young people, the people in charge, are they understanding? Because I think sometimes they don't understand and all the work goes to naught. Are they understanding? And are you being given the support that you need?
That's a tougher question. The people that work with me in Ghana have amazing hearts. They too have a purity that I appreciate and have come to rely on. It is not always easy for them to understand the direction that I see.
Yeah.
And there's a huge educational piece that must happen.
Because you see, for us in North America, it's easy for us to dream big. It's easy for us to say, it can be done. It's easy for us to say. Whereas, this is why I always say poverty is a very dangerous thing. Because poverty shrinks your vision. Poverty puts fear in your stomach. Therefore, even when somebody tries to open your world up too much, you get scared. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I don't know how, like you're saying, an educational piece, how is that going to happen?
Well, I'm very fortunate to be very friendly with the chief warrior of Clothe.
Chief warrior.
Chief warrior of Clothe, who lives up to his name quite lovely,
Okay.
quite in a lovely way. He's
warrior.
just delightful. He is a warrior, but he is also very understanding of how much business needs to be brought to his town.
Okay.
And development needs to be brought to his town. So he and the elders and the chiefs chose to ask me would I please, when I create the workshop where our residents are going to be doing batik and kente and the crafts that they know to do so well, could we expand it to create a community center so that all the people in the town can come and benefit and be a part of the lives of our residents. And that is the most amazing two-way street.
It is.
Because they will come to see our students and interact with them far more readily.
And the students will feel like celebrities.
That's right.
Hollywood Clothe.
That's it. Exactly. And we are also very fortunate because the man who is in charge of Staples here in Canada has spoken to me and has given us 12 3-year-old completely refurbished computers.
Wow.
That we are going to be bringing over. Our organization will be bringing them over and bringing them to Clothe.
Okay.
And we will set them up in the junior high school. And so the students in that school during the day will be able to learn about the world around them through those computers.
This is what I'm talking about when I say that there are people around who are willing and ready to put in a little something when they find that your work is genuine. The work cannot be fake. It has to be genuine. It has to benefit humanity, because I am telling you, all of the dreamers out there, all of the hopefuls out there, there are people lined up that you don't know that are ready to help. But you have to step out. People have to see your genuineness. They have to see your hope. They have to see your dream. Because whilst we talk about Ghana and India and Afghanistan and this and that, there are people right here in Canada who need help. People right here in Canada who are willing to help. But it takes somebody in the middle to want to stand between the two to pull it together. And so if somebody wants to get in touch with your organization, wants to contribute something, of course you can reach me, Anna Aidoo at All Talk TV. You can reach, do you have a Facebook page for the organization? For The Sky is the Limit? It's my limit.
The sky is my limit. We don't have a Facebook page, but we'll have one tomorrow.
Yeah, we should. We really should have a page where people can come, you know, as people like it and stuff, because the work has to be done. I know what I'm talking about. Like I keep saying, I was born and raised in Ghana, and so I know the suffering that people go through. And so I pray that as we put up information for people to see, that you will get all the help that you need. And I want to give you a moment to give a shout out to your family, to your husband, to your children, because I know the kind of pressure we put on them.
We do. We keep them busy because of how busy we are. It is true. And I am so blessed to have a wonderful husband who has been such a support, and who has, you know, he leads a congregation here in Toronto, and they have completely opened their arms to this organization and to this cause. and have done some wonderful things for us. They've collected clothing and even a couple of computers, and they've just been unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, he's a lot of fun, and he keeps things light and easy and keeps us moving forward.
The reason why I said that is because, and I want to give a shout out to my husband, Tony. Because the man just wants to be quiet and mind his own business, and he got lucky and married me. So what I want to say is, for each one of us that are trying to do good in society, there are people behind us who support us 100%, who give us all the help that we can get, because we do need the support. I want to thank All Talk TV. I want to thank David for making the time for me, for giving me the opportunity to do what I do. I'm the kind of person that just wants to do spiritual work. All I want to do is to spread good news and things like that. And it's not easy sometimes. Sometimes it's very, very hard. But I believe that there are angels around waiting to see the work that we do, to help us with the work that we do. And so I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every person in your life that is pouring into the work that you do, so that you can pour into the work of others. But before we end this, I don't know, but more and more in my spirit, I want us to reach out to one another. I want us to talk to one another. I want us to be able to open our mouth and say, I'm hurting, so that we don't get to the point where we hurt somebody so bad that we kill them, that we use words that will, bring them down forever, that we hold back even when we can be good to them. This medium here, I pray that it becomes successful. My prayer for the Aidoo show is to be a show that reaches to the core of humanity. A show that people can turn on and feel all right before they go to bed. Joan, it's always a pleasure. I look forward to, spending more time with you, working so that we can hold our big flag and say, look what the Lord has done. Look at the difference we've made. Continue to do the work that you do. I will continue to do the work that I do. I'll continue to bug David so that we can put the message out to the world that we are each capable of making a difference. And the sky is my limit. It's your limit. And it's the limit of the whole world. But in the meantime, be encouraged, be inspired in everything that you do. Stay blessed. Thank you.